What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. So I wanted to get into more in depth about the Kawhi Leonard situation. You heard me guys tell you that, he will be coming back, and you probably heard sources say the same thing. If you read anything online or maybe even listened to any podcasts or anything like that, or any interviews that Ty Lue has had lately. But the question is, when should we really be expecting Kawhi to return? Now, some of my sources have told me that we should be expecting Kawhi to return around Christmas time, or maybe a little bit before that. And that's actually a good thing, of course, because the sooner the better with a player like him. But of course, there's no 100% guarantees. I had my mind set on the first of the year, going into the new year, 2025. Early January. That's when I was thinking maybe the Kawhi Leonard, thing would happen around that time frame. But if he can come back around Christmas time or a little bit sooner, that's actually a good thing. That's definitely not bad. That's definitely a plus for the Clippers. And especially now that, somebody like Terrence Mann is going to be out for at least 3 or 4 weeks, a month or two, give or take, with his broken finger. And that's one of those valuable pieces I say the Clippers have, because he's a part of that young, group that they have of guys who love to just play defense and get after it and not really worry too much about offense, and really, play teams very, very hard every night, because they got so many perimeter defenders. And then Terrence Mann, his value is even more predicated now on the team, because now that they got a bunch of guys that play the same role kind of sort of that he does. Derrick Jones Jr., you got Chris Dunn, Nicholas Batum still, those guys defend on the perimeter, and those guys defend very well, and they defend very well collectively also. So you add Terrence Mann in there, that makes their defense even better. So losing him for a few weeks, definitely, can give a little bit of, it makes it a little bit better, or be, more optimistic, knowing that Kawhi is going to come back, and, maybe they'll come back around the same time. Hopefully, that would be good too. Both of them step on the floor at the same time. But either way, my sources are definitely saying that Kawhi is more or less him and his team is definitely looking at somewhere around Christmas time, which would actually be awesome, you know what I'm saying? But don't be surprised if it is maybe like the first of the year or something like that. But even still, that's very positive news, coming from Kawhi's camp, or anybody surrounding Kawhi or within the Kawhi situation all on its own. So that's definitely a good positive there to hold on to. And hopefully, everybody else can kind of maintain their health and, keep it going, with the team and everything, so they can fall right into place of how they need to be and keep it rolling how they've been doing. And James Harden's been playing really good. He's had some mishaps, some games here and there, but it doesn't really matter. They're playing shorthanded, and shorthanded, they look just as good as a lot of teams in the league shorthanded. So when they're fully staffed, that's when they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams. And I think, honestly, if I had to choose one team from the Western Conference that I think that can give the Celtics a run, because I definitely think the Celtics are the team to come out the East. I just don't see nobody else really beating them. You could make a case for the Knicks. You could make a case for maybe one or two other teams. And maybe if Philadelphia ever got right, maybe they could possibly give them a run. But I just think, the Celtics are just better than Philly. I think they're better than the Heat. I think they're better than the Milwaukee Bucks, even though the Bucks, when they get back Chris Middleton, that'll make them a little bit more formidable. But them losing Drew Holiday and players like that really made them a championship caliber type team, I don't know if that's really going to be enough to beat the Celtics, because the Celtics brought back everybody. But regardless of all that, I feel like the only team in the West I feel like that can really give the Celtics a run like that, honestly, is the Clippers. Because when you look at the Dallas Mavericks, they have a good three, trio there. But at the same time, Klay Thompson, he's going to have moments where he looks like the old Klay. He's not going to have consistency where he looks like the old Klay, especially in the playoffs. He might go through a couple stretches in the season where I think he'll look great or something like that. But it's not going to be consistent like he once was in Golden State like 6-7 years ago. It's not going to be that Klay Thompson, I don't think, because he's really literally playing the third guy now. But before, he was always the second option. And then when KD came around, he was the third option, but it really didn't look like it, because he never stopped shooting, and he never stopped shooting well. You know what I mean? So now that he's really actually playing that third guy role, it's still a mental difference for him. And then, like I said, Luka, he's not Stephen Curry. Luka is great, but I don't think he's better than a Stephen Curry. Steph takes a lot of pressure off of Klay Thompson, always have, and they took pressure off each other. But I don't know if that really suffices, especially with Kyrie stuck in the middle, and you're really trying to make sure everybody eats on that team. And it's just sometimes it could be a little bit more difficult than what it looks like. I mean, look at Kevin Durant's situation with the Phoenix Suns. They haven't been past the second round since they've been together. You know what I mean? And they have a big three, and it's whatever. But I mean, you can look at it from a multitude of ways. I just think the Clippers are more built to play a team like the Celtics, because the Celtics have defense and offense. Whereas you look at a lot of other teams, they're either offensively inclined or maybe they're defensively inclined. They don't really have both together. And the way the Clippers are built, as you see now without Kawhi Leonard, they're defensively inclined. They really are. And if they had a little bit more offense, add to what they already have with their defense, they would basically be the Celtics probably of the Western Conference. I mean, if you want to look at it from that standpoint, I mean, if you look at how they defend perimeter wise, they got guys that are scrappy. They got guys that will defend you from 94 feet all the way to the basket. They got guys like that. Chris Dunn is one of those type dudes. Terrence Mann is one of those type dudes. You know what I mean? So they got guys that will defend. And that's the same thing you could say about Derek White. The same thing you could say about Drew Holiday. You see what I mean? So it's like both teams have guys that will defend at a high level. Now I will say Drew Holiday and Derek White are a little bit better defenders than Chris Dunn and Terrence Mann, but collectively, the way the Clippers play defense as a unit by committee, they're pretty damn tough. They really are. And if you add a superstar to their mix, even though they kind of sort of have one in James Harden, if you add a superstar they mix like Kawhi Leonard with his offense, and we know how good his defense can be, well, damn. I mean, that might suffice for everything any other team tries to throw at them. So, I mean, that's a hell of a combination to have. Your best player is probably the best two-way player in the league when healthy. Your best player. And you're already a defensive team as the Clippers. So, I mean, like I said, to me, the Clippers are the only team that can really challenge the Celtics, honestly, in a 7-game series, especially with somebody like Porzingis and all the other talent they have. I don't think the Mavericks can beat them. And Luka, like I said, he's good, but he's overweight, he's fat, and he's obnoxious, and he complains to the refs too much. His mental is not built for a championship yet. It just isn't. So, I mean, Kevin Durant, he's not really built for a championship like that mentally unless he has everything around him perfect like the Golden State Warriors back then. And that's the only way he's won championships, because other than that, he's had big threes before like he has now and doesn't get past the second round with a big three. I mean, if Kawhi had half the talent that Kevin Durant played with, Kawhi would have 4 championships easily. There's no way he just only have 2. So, I mean, I can't really trust KD like that. And, he's starting to get injury prone as well. So, I mean, we can't really trust that also. But honestly, I think the Clippers will be fine. I think it's always a good thing to hear your superstars coming back. And Kawhi will be back soon enough, around that time frame, I believe. And we'll just kind of take it from there.